Introduction to the book of Isaiah. Prophet, poet, and politician. His nation at a crossroads. Isaiah rose to meet the challenge. And he looked for justice, but saw bloodshed. For righteousness, but heard cries of distress. According to Isaiah chapter 5, verse 7. The prophet Isaiah was a giant of Jewish history. The New Testament quotes him more than all the other prophets combined. No other biblical author can match his rich vocabulary and use of imagery. Isaiah spent his days in the corridors of power. He served as advisor to the kings of Judah, and he helped set the course of his nation. Days of crisis. Isaiah lived at a crucial time, midway between the founding of the kingdom under Saul and David, and its eventual destruction. A civil war had split the Israelites into North Israel and South Judah, and Isaiah lived in the more pious southern kingdom. When Isaiah began his work, the nation seemed strong and wealthy, but Isaiah saw signs of grave danger. People were using their power to harass the poor. Men went around drunk. Women cared more about their clothes than about their neighbor's hunger. People gave lip service to God and kept up the outward appearance of religion, but did little more. Outside dangers loomed even larger. The armies of neighboring Israel were rattling swords and spears at the border. On all sides, monster empires were growing, especially Egypt and Assyria. Judah was caught in the middle. Should the nation choose one of the empires as an ally? Harsh words from an uncompromising prophet. The nation of Judah, said Isaiah, stood at a crossroads. It could either regain its footing or begin a dangerous slide downward. The prophet did not temper his message for the sake of popular opinion. He had harsh and unyielding words about what changes must take place. Although he moved in royal circles, Isaiah was hardly a yes man in politics. Sometimes, he stood alone against a tide of optimism. His very name meant, "The Lord saves," and he warned kings that relying on military power or wealth or any force other than God would lead to disaster. Isaiah outlasted 4 kings, but he finally offended one beyond repair. King Manasseh, notorious for practicing infant sacrifice, found Isaiah's strong words too much to bear. Tradition records that he had Isaiah killed by fastening him between 2 planks of wood and sawing his body in half. Manasseh has long disappeared into obscurity since then. But Isaiah, through this book, endorsed as one of the great authors of all times. Sometimes, The pen is mightier than the sword.
Mighty God, we worship and give you the glory forever and ever we worship and give you the glory. We bless your holy name. Mighty God, we worship and give you.
How to read Isaiah. In the 8th century BC, Isaiah wrote the book that bears his name. It is arguably the most eloquent book in the Old Testament, and you will likely recognize many verses and phrases. Isaiah is full of profound insights into the nature of God and His plan for the earth. Due to its length and its peculiar organization, however, the book may seem hard to grasp. Remember that Isaiah consists of a collection of many messages on various topics, pulled together into groupings. To understand Isaiah, it helps to think of the book as divided into several major groupings. Here is a summary of them. Isaiah chapters 1 to 12. Isaiah's call and messages of warning to Judah during the prosperous days of the kingdom. Now Isaiah chapters 13 to 23. Isaiah's messages to all the nations around Judah, including enemies and close allies. Chapters 24 to 35. A view of the earth's future, especially in chapters 24 to 27, and specific messages to the people of Judah as they faced Assyria's imminent invasion. Chapters 36 to 39, an interlude telling of great crisis faced by King Hezekiah. The focus of the book moves from Assyria to Babylon. Chapters 40 to 48, prophecies addressed to a very different situation, 200 years into the future. Now, Babylon, and not Assyria, is a great enemy. Chapters 49 to 55, a word of hope about final deliverance through the suffering servant. Chapters 56 to 66, general warnings to Judah and view of the future. Again, for the first grouping or major grouping, Isaiah chapters 1 to 12, Isaiah's call and messages of warning to Judah during the prosperous days of the kingdom. Now I'd like to add that this came mostly in the reigns of Uzziah and Jotham. Alright, and for the last grouping, Isaiah chapters 56 to 66, general warnings to Judah and a view of the future. Plans for reading Isaiah. Plan 1, an overview of Isaiah in 6 days. Day 1, read the introduction, just like what we've done, and also chapter 6. Proceed to chapter 6. This chapter describes Isaiah's dramatic call. Day 2, read chapter 25, a song of praise. Day 3, read chapter 40, a great description of God and His power over the whole earth. Day 4, read chapter 52, which gives detailed description of God's ultimate plan. Day 5, read chapter 53, a remarkable prophecy quoted at least 10 times in the New Testament. Now for day 6, read chapter 55, a word of great comfort from God. Again, day 1, introduction, then proceed to chapter 6. Day 2, chapter 25. Day 3, chapter 40. Day 4, chapter 52. Day 5, chapter 53. And then day 6, chapter 55. Now for plan 2, all of Isaiah in 63 days. Alright, so there are 66 chapters in the book of Isaiah. One chapter a day except for day 4, wherein we read, there's a suggestion. Alright, it's being suggested that we read both chapters 4 and 5. And on day 18, we read both chapters 19 and 20. Then on day 36, we read both chapters 38 and 39. Actually, you have the freedom to, how to go about it. This is just a guide. Alright, so as the Spirit leads. But then again, for plan 2, all of Isaiah in 63 days. Alright, that's all for now. God bless us all.